I messed it up, Steven. I messed it up. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake. And with me, as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry Guy, the man who may cry devil, and the father of the children of Morta, Steven.
Am I the father? Because I'm going to play several members of the family except for Uncle Joey. I'm not going to be Uncle Joey.
We hate Uncle Joey.
Sucks. We hate Uncle Joey.
I don't know that we hate Uncle Joey.
You liked him. You liked Joey.
I thought he was fun. I thought he was pretty fun to play as.
He just swings a big hammer. That's his entire personality and character.
That's his whole bit.
That's his whole thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortlecast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. We got a great show for you this week, I say, as I scroll away from my list of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all the new Marvel movies that are coming in the next year or two. We're going to talk about the new Venom trailer that posted today. And then we're also going to talk about Destiny 2 Season of the Splicer, which if you're watching this live, should be popping off tomorrow. So, very exciting stuff. And then as the title of this show implies, we are also going to have a discussion about Returnal because Steven has had a lot more time with it now.
Did someone say something bad about Returnal?
And Steven is disappointed in a Returnal. Yeah. So we will talk about that.
It was a slow burn, but we'll talk about that. Yeah,
we'll talk about it. But before we get too far into it, of course, this is a podcast where we play games while we podcast, and so we're trying some new things. All right, last week was our first live episode that we've ever done, or not. Well, that we've done in this way. And it kind of crashed and burned pretty quick. We found out that our frame rates are not up to par, and they're still not perfect, but they're a little bit better today. And I think the games that we're playing, well, that Steven's playing this time, doesn't really.
I don't know what you're talking about. I prefer to play my games at 2 frames per second.
Steven's game is running a little weak, but we'll see how it goes. So. Anyway, Steven is playing. Steven, what are you playing? Tell the good people what you're playing.
Children of Morta, which is a action roguelite where you play as a group of a family that is a group of basically monster hunters / defenders against the darkness or something. They recently added a roguelike game mode that is pretty good. It's a pretty good free update. So I'm playing as Kevin right now. I will probably be playing multiple family members, but he is the little snot-nosed brat with 2 daggers.
That's a new nickname for you right there, Steven. That is gold.
Brat with 2 daggers.
The snot-nosed brat with 2 daggers. Love it. Steven, have they added the new characters for that yet, or is that something else that we're still waiting on? They've just added one.
They've added one character. She's kind of disappointing. She's not even family. She just kind of showed up, and the Bergsons were like, your family now. It's like, no,
your family now. That's funny. Very cool. Well, I am playing Destiny 2 because, of course, we're going to talk about Destiny 2 at some point here, and so that'll be very nice. And right now, I'm deleting all my shaders, which really, I'm going to be honest with you, is very painful for me because they're changing how shaders work, and some of these shaders I have held on to. I can't bring myself to delete that one. That one, I like that one too much. There's too many of these that I just love, so it hurts me. But I'm getting ready for.
Why are you shaders?
I'll explain it when we get to the to that part of the show.
Are they sunsetting colors? Is that what?
Yeah, it's going to be black and white, Steven, from here on out. But at least it's going to be the actual black. Like, you know how sometimes in Destiny you'd have a shader that looked black, but then when you threw it on, it was like it had a green tinge to it, or like a dark blue or something. And it's like, I didn't want this. They're getting rid of that. That's not a thing anymore. So no, we'll talk about that later. First, Steven, since this is just probably the freshest thing on our mind, let's talk about that new Venom trailer that came out today.
Okay. I thought it was dumb.
So it
But
starts off right with Venom and making Eddie Brock breakfast,
yeah,
which is
Venom the
pretty
symbiote
fun. Uh-huh.
is making breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and he's singing, and it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was legitimately funny because like he's cracking eggs and shells getting in there. He's just tearing the kitchen apart,
Uh-huh.
and and they just he's like breakfast, and he puts it down on the table, and he's like yum. It's like that's
Yum.
really funny. Too bad this is a Venom movie. I don't want to laugh at Venom.
I mean, Venom
You
can
know,
be
I want to
funny.
be like,
Venom can
wow,
be funny.
he's.
Did you
But
see the first movie?
I
Did you
saw
ever?
enough.
You saw it?
I saw enough. This is just one of those things where Steven just can't get past something.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Turtlecast, where Steven fails to get past something. Where it's just like this fails on a foundational level for me because it's trying to be a comedy above everything else.
Right.
Or at least it feels that way.
Right.
And that's just a bad decision. That's just being tone deaf.
Yeah.
Or tone blind. I don't know,
I'm
something.
I'm excited about Carnage, but I think that's
Yeah.
about it. Oh, I'm deleting shaders, and I have these Cade's Dud shaders that I've
Yep.
never used, but I just
I was
deleted one
about
on
to say,
accident, and I'm not deleting anymore. I just caught that. It's gonna disappear, and I'm gonna cry about it later, but I'm not gonna cry about it right now. So anyway, uh,
yeah.
it's a sad day.
Walter's over on the Twitch chat. Hey, Walter, thanks for popping into our podcast.
Yes, and is that okay? All right, thank you very much. What's up? And then hello, JJ, watching in the chat. Of course, with the podcast, we'll comment occasionally on the chat, but it's not quite like a normal live stream where we're constantly engaging. But feel free to jump in on topics, and we'll pull in some comments as we go. But yeah, I don't know. The first Venom movie did well enough that I kind of want to see it. But I just haven't sat down to actually watch it. So maybe they'll improve with this one. But I was seeing some stuff on TikTok, people, breaking down the trailer, and there were some interesting things about how the Daily Bugle looks like the same Daily Bugle from the Sam Raimi universe, but that there's another thing that references the Avengers. Do what?
Like it cannot possibly exist in the Sam Raimi universe because they show the origin of the symbiote in the first one, I'm pretty sure, and the symbiote already had its origin in the Sam Raimi universe, and I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that Venom's not MCU canon.
Well,
I don't know.
I think people are just pointing towards, again, everyone's all hyped up about the multiverse. You know what I mean, Steven? To the point that I wonder if we've maybe gone too far.
You have. I'm going to tell you right now. Mephisto's not coming. He is not going to pop out of a portal and be like, "Hey, here's Batman, Buzz Lightyear," and like he's not going to do it.
I mean, Buzz Lightyear has more of a chance than Batman, but
it's true. He does.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Of just like,
I'm just saying, I'm your hype anchor. Like you being the internet. I'm here to tell you that whatever you're hoping happens probably won't happen. So you need to expect nothing. Here's my motto. Okay, here's Steven's motto. Write it down. Vortex, if you're here, or if you're listening to this at any point, this is my catchphrase. Expect the worst, and the worst that can happen is that you'll get what you expected.
Wait. You want to take another? You want to do another take at that, or
the worst? And the worst that can happen is that you get what you expected.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I understand. I get where you're coming from. Well, I don't know. I'm curious to see what'll happen with the Venom movie, but I like the Venom Carnage thing, which I feel like I don't know. I've always liked the idea of Carnage, so maybe it'll be better than just.
That's the thing for me. Like with Venom, Carnage is a character that when I see Carnage, I don't want to be laughing because Carnage is a terrifying character. Mm-hmm. Like Carnage needs to be handled in such a way to where whenever he's on screen, you don't feel safe. Like you're just like, gosh, I feel sick and this thing creeps me out and I want it to go away.
Right.
which is one of the things that makes him such a good villain, I think, is because he's so intimidating. And I just hope that the tone of this movie understands that Carnage is one of the better scary Marvel villains. But I don't know. I can't really talk because I haven't seen it.
I feel like they're going more for the anti-hero though. They've given up on him being a scary villain, even in the comics. I think because there's a comic run going on right now. I want to say it's like King of the Black or the Black King or something like that.
Yeah, where it's like the
Symbiote King, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, and it's this whole big arc where like Venom becomes like the ultimate god hero or whatever, and turns the whole world into symbiotes, and I don't know, all sorts of stuff's happening. It's been an interest. I just read like the headlines of the run, but anyway, very cool stuff. While we're on,
I think
go ahead.
that Venom, like outside of Spider-Man, is just really bad source material because they've not been able to nail down Venom as a concept like the symbiote.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been able to make good origin or good standalone stuff with him.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's maybe the 90s, like because Lethal Protector, if it was standalone, I don't know anything about Venom and Carnage except for what I've seen secondhand.
Mm-hmm.
That was received well, I think, but like every time I hear something like, oh, Venom is this alien species, we went to the planet, or Venom, there's the king of the, like, it just sounds really weird and like it doesn't adapt well,
Right.
and I don't know. So I'm curious to see what they do. But if they're trying to make Carnage an anti-hero, I'm sorry. He is literally a serial killer.
No, that's Carnage. That's Carnage.
Did I say Venom? I meant Carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I've been talking about.
You don't. Carnage is not being an anti-hero. I'm sorry.
Good. That's what I heard.
No,
and I was
sorry.
like, no.
Venom, even in the comics, has been taking the turn of a. I mean, I think he's always kind of been an anti-hero, but I think they're really doubling down on that recently. So
that makes more sense because, like, even for a little while, Flash Thompson, is that his name? When Agent Venom was a thing, I like that iteration of Venom, and it made sense for him to be the way he was. He was even a Guardian of the Galaxy for a while. So yeah, that makes sense. But I just, again, it's a tone thing for me.
Yeah,
I get that. I don't see it like a comedy. I just don't understand the pull to that.
I get that. Well, while we're on the topic of trailers and Marvel, a week ago, Marvel posted this trailer. The only way I can find it is if you search Eternal's teaser trailer, which is so funny because
movies, I think.
Yeah, it talks about like the whole lineup of everything that you can expect over the next couple months and years, even. So
it's Disney saying, "Please go to the movie theater."
It is all about the movie theater. It starts off with a great quote from Stan Lee, talking about the world and how Marvel is always going to change with the world, and it shows some really relevant Marvel movie footage about that. Blah blah blah. Then it shows a reaction to Avengers Assemble, I think is what it was, in theaters. Yeah. And then at the end of this whole 3-minute trailer that shows a bunch of movies, it's like, we'll see you at the movies. And so, yeah, they're definitely
points, but it came off desperate to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I totally agree with the whole thing of like, there are moments in certain movies that need to be experienced. Right. Like the snap was one of the coolest cinematic moments to experience, like actually in a theater, because you got to hear all of the reactions and you just got to, like, your heart just sank and everyone in the room, like, you shared that moment. Like, that was just good. Right. But like for them to, it just felt very, it felt desperate.
Yeah.
They shouldn't need to be desperate. Like, they could release a movie and not do a single trailer for it and just say, hey, new Marvel movie, and it would break records.
Yes, it would in many ways. But anyway, so I just want to kind of go down this list of all the movies they announced in this. Some of them we knew about, but then there's some that we're getting new details on, even in just title. So obviously Black Widow is one that's coming out sooner rather than later.
Are we sure?
So, Steven, that's a great point. Who really knows anymore? What is life? But supposedly Black Widow is coming out. July 9th is on that one. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings coming out, which we've gotten a trailer for that. We haven't talked about that, Steven. What did you
No,
think
yeah.
of the trailer?
I think the trailer looked good. I like how it's leaning more into like a mystical kung fu movie than it is a traditional Marvel movie. The humor seems like it's going to be really cringy, but it is what it is. The action looks like it'll be great though.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for what it could mean for the MCU as a whole with, dealing with the 10 rings and
Right.
the actual 10 rings of power.
Right.
And Shang-Chi, I've been waiting for them to show me why it should be him being the kung fu character in the MCU and not Iron Fist. Because I just prefer Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But because I actually read his comics, but I haven't read anything for Shang-Chi, so I'm excited for them to make a case for Shang-Chi.
Yeah. It very much felt like, if Iron Fist is your vanilla flavor, Shang-Chi is your sweet cream kind of idea, it felt very similar to the Iron Fist show that happened recently. So I am curious where they're gonna go. And the comedy, I'm curious where it's gonna go as well. I was laughing at Aquafina because I didn't know who she was until Raya and the Last Dragon, and that's not on her. That's honestly a dig against me of just I don't know culture. So I just kind of laughed. I was like, hey, look, it's Aquafina again. I guess she's really gotten hooked up with Disney now. So anyway, fun stuff. That's coming out September 3rd. So look forward to that. Then they showed us the Eternals trailer, teaser.
Was it a trailer?
Teaser. Sorry, I misspoke. That's my bad.
It was like a clip.
Yeah,
like a second.
It's just a few really small clips, but it looks really good. I'm really curious. Like it looks like it looks different from any other Marvel movie we've seen. At least to me, something about it, just the feel. It doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. I don't know if it's because it's Jennifer or Angelina Jolie is in it, and that's what's throwing me off or what. But there's also like that cowgirl scene at the beginning. I'm very curious where that's all going to go. So I'm excited about that.
What?
November 5th. There's a cowgirl. It looks like a shot right out of like, this is a horrible example, but Brokeback Mountain is the only thing I can think of. It looks like I'm trying to think of like Homelander.
Was Brokeback Mountain the only cowboy related thing you could think of?
Yeah, unfortunately. There's a show that I'm thinking of, but I don't know the name of it. I don't watch it. But it's like a rancher and his family. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. And then so that's all the stuff that they kind of show teaser and trailer stuff of. But then they start name dropping things. So we got Spider-Man No Way Home, December 17th, 2021. We knew about that. Very excited. Everyone's still curious what's up with that. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, March 25th, 2022. We knew about that. Still don't know a lot about it, but there it is again. Thor, Love and Thunder. That's coming May 6th of 2022. I saw somebody post recently that if COVID hadn't have happened, we would have been watching Multiverse of Madness by now.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
What a world we live in. And then next they show Black Panther 2, which they're now calling Wakanda Forever, and they're putting July 8th on that. So I know we've talked about this on the podcast before. We talked a little bit about just like what are they going to do with all that. Does the name? I don't want to go all the way through that whole conversation again because that was a lot. But Wakanda Forever. Obviously, that's the phrase they say in the first movie. Does that give you any ideas of where this could be going, Steven, other than just what we know of just it's going to be a Black Panther story without Black Panther?
My first guess would be that it's going to focus more on the people of Wakanda as a whole, because I think even there's a series being developed that is about Wakanda.
Right.
So you have the title Wakanda Forever. To me, that implies that the lasting impression will be their culture. And so maybe you could have something happen along the lines of like Black Panther becoming a symbol,
Mm-hmm.
and the people of Wakanda all being Black Panther. And that sounds really cheesy, but
We are Groot. We are the Black Panther.
I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that could be where they're going with like getting M'Baku and Shuri and what the other girl, like giving them more of a spotlight and maybe developing more,
Yeah.
and kind of making it kind of an ensemble, but without the actual character of Black Panther in some way. I don't know. That's like my top level thoughts. The first thing I thought of.
I like the idea of that. I don't know if when we last talked about this, if we talked about Okoye and the Dora Milaje, but after seeing them in Winter Soldier, I definitely think they could maybe not a full spinoff, but like that could be a whole subplot with the Dora Milaje and like what are they doing? How are they operating?
I don't think they could hold a film like as the main focus, but they make
They could be a good B plot though. I think.
Yes, they would make a pretty good B plot.
And then I think Shuri doing something would be really cool. So I don't know. We'll see. The next thing they talked about, I'm obviously very excited about. It's the Marvels. So this is Captain Marvel 2, The Marvels, November 11th, 2022. The S in Marvels is the Miss Marvel logo. So you would assume, right, that this is going to have Miss Marvel in it. Probably going to have, I forget if her name was Is it Photon from WandaVision?
I think.
Yeah. So we assume we'll see probably her and then Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is getting a Disney Plus show as well. So yeah. I don't remember when that's airing. I don't think they mentioned it in this trailer.
I think all we know is that we know who's playing her.
Right.
I think we got a sneak peek or a leaked photo of her costume, actually.
Yeah, they and I think there was like a little featurette or something. Anyway, very exciting stuff for the Marvels. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I had heard people talk about this one on like TikTok and stuff, but I don't remember seeing it. So I guess it must have been one that just flew under the radar for me.
Yeah, it kind of came and went. The revealing of the title. We've known that for a little while.
That one is February 17th, 2023. Quantumania, Steven. What does that say to you?
It says try again.
It says try again. I mean, the quantum realm, right? But
it's definitely going quantum realm.
Okay, interesting. Very curious where that's going to be. Also, we went from 2022 to 2023 now, so really starting to.
I think the Quantumania is going to be, they go to the quantum realm and they find like a really big stadium, and they've come to find out that these subatomic beings are having their own WrestleMania. Like there's a subatomic Undertaker, subatomic Randy Orton, all that kind of stuff. And that's Quantumania.
And so they're gonna have to bring all the heroes to entertain them, and we're gonna have a battle royale to see who.
Yeah, there's gonna be a Quantum Royal Rumble. See who the last subatomic being is left standing.
JJ in the chat really likes that. He's all on board for this. So okay, great. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's May 5th, 2023. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the Christmas special on Disney Plus before this as well. So that's exciting. And then they kind of close off the trailer with just a brief logo of the Fantastic Four. No dates given, nothing really, no other real information to go on, no name, just a logo for the Fantastic Four.
You know who's directing it?
No, who is directing it?
Peyton Reed, is that right? I think it's the guy who did the new Spider-Man movies.
Oh, okay.
Peyton Reed, man. But I'm pretty sure that was confirmed. That it's whoever did Homecoming.
Interesting. I had not heard that, but that sounds right. That sounds awesome.
Look it up. Fact check me, just to be sure.
All right.
Someone fact checking in the chat. If you fact check me, you will get a shout out in the chat. Or in the yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna let somebody else fact check that.
There you go.
So no date on that, right? And after, that was listed after things listed in 2023. So like realistically, we probably have till 2024, right, before that's gonna even come together.
They're gonna release Fantastic Four in 2024. That's why they've been waiting so long, just so they can get that four in the marketing.
Steven. Wow.
Yeah,
Steven, did you major in marketing or anything like that?
that was part of it. Mostly, I majored in writing useless papers. I
Love
know
it.
a lot about the FRC, which is
Love
an
it.
outdated version of the FCC, which I know a decent bit about.
Hey, Steven, I'm getting a phone call and I don't know who it is. Entertain the people for like 2 seconds, okay?
Okay, so I'm playing Kevin currently. He's got these two little daggers. This is the second time in a row on one of these live podcasts that I've had to do this, and there's probably not as much to talk about in this game that I'm playing. But yeah, Kevin, he's like a rogue character, so he can stealth. He attacks faster and with more damage the longer he attacks or the more he hits or something. I don't know. I haven't really read about the characters since I picked the game back up. But
Did you
yeah,
adequately entertain the people?
people, are you adequately entertained? If you say yes, you'll get a shout out in the stream.
Yes. So, good times. Excited for more Marvel news. That'll all be really really cool.
It's Marvel.
It's a real marvel that any of this is coming and that it will finally be here. It's funny how so many things it spread out so quickly, like the dates, because it feels like a lot for 2021 and 22, especially considering that there's Disney Plus stuff happening too. But then at a certain point, it just it all kind of falls apart and starts spreading out. So we're going to be I don't know the word I'm looking for. Well loved is not the right word, but like spoiled. Spoiled. We're going to be spoiled with Marvel content for.
Will be well loved with Marvel content.
Steven, I couldn't find the word. You know what I mean? The word just left me. It just was gone. Because I started. See, Steven, here's the problem. I started a Gambit match thinking, oh yeah, I'm done talking. I can like just, or I'm done reading. I can like. Well, Steven, I don't know if you haven't played Gambit in a while, but Gambit is pretty mindless now. You know what I mean? It just kind of, and I say that as I just died and lost 12 motes, and so my team is probably just like, who are you, and why are you here? But one guy's reviving me, so that's nice. Anyway, Steven, let's talk about
Flynn quick. So entertain the people.
Okay, I'm gonna entertain the people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Destiny while I play some Destiny. For those that are watching on YouTube or watching back on any of these other channels, Twitch, all that stuff. Oh wow, Steven, that was fast. That was really fast.
It was really boring.
Well, I appreciate the boring sometimes. So let's talk about Destiny. Destiny is actually
boring.
Wow, Steven. Wow, just all the shots fired real quick.
This is one of those podcasts where I'm the villain.
I was nervous talking about this with you because I was like, oh, Steven's not going to be he's not going to be happy with me. So the season of the Splicer got announced this week.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. You need to get anything else out of your system, Steven, before we go on?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. Just checking. Just making sure you're good. Yeah, so season of the Splicer starts tomorrow if you're watching this live. Very exciting, new season. I personally can't wait to find out what new developments happen with old Prince Aldrin, because he's old Aldrin. He has been kind of almost. It's funny. Some people have been writing. I've seen a couple articles written that was like, we are no longer the main character of Destiny 2. Prince Aldrin is now the main character, and I'm living for it. I really like this whole concept. At first, when Aldrin first killed Cade, I was just like, and people were like, well, he's probably going to be the new Vanguard. I was just like, are you kidding me? No way. Like this dude, there's no way I'll forgive this dude. And they have really done a pretty good job of making me like him because he's kind of come back and you probably won't like this, Steven, but he's almost been a perfect character since he's come back. Like just his ideals and like his heroism is really good.
Which is why you're coming around on him, which is exactly what they designed
Do
for
what?
you to. It's why you're coming around to him, because they were just like, we know we're gonna have to like really push this guy over
Yeah.
for people to forgive him for the heinous act that he did. So let's just make him that way.
I mean he's a really nice guy and he's really nice and for me I didn't get to play Season of the Hunt I think it was which is where we first saw him again. I got to play a couple cutscenes that kind of introduced he's there. So I didn't get to live through everything that everyone else did, but it was funny. I got a letter in my Postmates or in my Postmaster from Osiris that basically said, "Look, this Aldrin is not the one you knew. You need to get over it and forgive him." Like he was like, "You got justice for Cade. Now let's move on." And I was just like, "Okay, fair enough. Osiris, you got me. You're good. That's well worded. I'm moving on." So anyway, I'm very excited. I'm very excited where that's going to go. But anyway, Season of the Splicer. Steven, do you know, and you did Destiny 1, do you know much about Splicer or any, like a lot of people have been.
I know that you raised your hand at him and go, splicer, no splicing. But that's it.
Wow, Steven, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
What's the splicer?
So anyway, it seemed the Splicer seems to be I guess it could be any being in what's happening. It's a fallen Elixni who can commune with machines, I think is kind of the way it works. So we're going to be working with Fallen to fight the Vex, which should be interesting. And it's just as a theme, I think that's interesting that's happening right now. This past season, we fought against Cabal, but then eventually teamed up with the Cabal, like kind of signed a treaty with them, basically. And now we're working with Elixni to fight the Vex. And obviously, a few seasons ago, the darkness kind of returned. That's kind of story wise why we lost a lot of maps and different content. So I kind of wonder if we're slowly building up to like we're gonna make an alliance with all these enemies that we've had for so many games.
There is it would make literally, I'm just saying this, but it would make literally zero sense if in the future you do some kind of alliance of any kind with the Hive or the Vex. That would make zero sense.
Well, see, that's exactly it. I don't think we would align with either of those because we're helping the Fallen fight the Vex, and then even and the Cabal, they were like, look, you don't understand how much of a threat the Hive are going to be when they fully go full darkness on us. Like, we need to team up. We need each other. And really, the whole conflict with the Cabal could have been resolved if the leader of the Cabal just didn't want us to bow to her. Like, if she had just been cool and been like, look, I understand you need your freedom. You need to operate on your own free will or whatever.
That admits weakness, and the Cabal have no weakness except for the fact that they have no neck. I don't know.
That was a lot of the problem. That was a lot of the problem. So, all right, let me pull up my notes here. Season of the Splicer. So we are gonna have a new 6-man activity. I know. Here we go. Let me pull up the roadmap. That's what I need. Steven, what's it going to take to get you back to Destiny? That's while I'm figuring this out. What is it going to take? What is it going to take? They gave you a turret. They gave you ice powers. I don't know what more.
The promise that they won't take any of it away.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Actual content that's not recycled or boring. And Luke Smith to turn in his resignation by the end of the day.
Wow, very demanding. Okay, Season of the Splicer. Here's what's happening. So we're working with the Elixir. I talked about that. The tower has become enveloped in an endless night. So the tower is changing.
So they made an entire season about sunsetting.
But they're sunsetting, Steven.
I have to give Austin credit for that joke. He told me that one earlier. I figured I'd use it.
Very nice, very nice. You're getting new stasis aspects, which can change your stasis abilities, which will be very cool. And we're getting a new 6-man match-made thing, not unlike the Menagerie or some of the other missions that we've done, called Override, which will be taking place on Europa, and that will require a season pass. So cool stuff there. But basically, there's lots of other stuff happening. So like the Vault of Glass is coming back on May 22nd. That's exciting.
That still hasn't happened?
No, it's coming. It's been.
I've been talking about that for over a year.
Yeah, well, they've been saying, "Hey, it's coming," and then they gave a date, and then I think COVID happened.
It already exists.
The date. I don't know, Steven. I don't understand. I don't know what's.
It's old content.
We're gonna have the Solstice of Heroes again. That'll be the kind of the holiday event, if you will, for that season. And then also the big thing that I'll to circle back to shaders for that question, Steven. Destiny is introducing its transmog system this season. And so I'm trying to search.
What's your opinion of transmog? Because I don't know anything about it.
So I am okay with it, but it's one of those things that like they obviously made this way more complicated than it needed to be to either A, get your money, or B, make you grind on the game.
Yeah.
I got you there, Steven. It was a double. You agree with both of the choices.
You get me.
Let me pull up my full thing. So, because it is a little complex. So, if you don't know, transmog is where you can take the appearance of an existing armor and add it to a different armor that you have that you like the stats of, right? Destiny has kind of been doing a half thing with this with ornaments, universal ornaments, which you can get usually. Well, I think at this stage right now, you really can only get them from Eververse or your season pass. If you buy a season. So now, though, they're making it where any piece of armor that you earn in the game, or if you got it in a raid, whatever, you can transmog that to it. You can make that a universal ornament.
What's the cost?
Everything. So let me walk it down for you. So they're calling it armor synthesis. I'm trying to get to okay, here we go. Okay, I'm reading from a Polygon article, by the way.
And also, and this may be answered in what you're about to read, but does it apply to exotics as well?
Say that question one more time.
Can you transmog an exotic?
No.
Okay.
And the whole reason with that is because they want people to see your exotic and immediately know what powers you have.
Yep, it makes sense. I don't argue with that.
Yeah.
I just figured that was the case.
It'd be really nice because there's a lot of really great ability exotics that I hate the look of.
Yep.
So that's annoying. But anyway, okay. Here's the process. To convert armor pieces, fans will need to adventure in the world and kill enemies, passively generating what's called synth strand for themselves while they play. So pretty much anything you do. Kind of like Glimmer, you're earning synth strand. Once you have enough synth strand, you need 150. You can buy special bounties from Ada One. She's kind of going to be the central vendor for all of this. Once you have enough synth strand, you can buy special bounties from Ada One that offer synth cord. Once a guardian finishes their bounty, they can take their new synth cord and trade it into Ada 1 for synth weave.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have a synth weave, you can use that to unlock armor appearances for the transmog system. So basically, you are earning essentially a new currency, kind of like you would Glimmer, and then you're using that to buy a bounty to get the currency that you actually need to trade with Ada 1 to get your thing you need. Now, here's the kicker, Steven. Here's the kicker. It's a lengthy process. It's already annoying. You can only earn 10 synth weave a season on each character class. So if you did that for all 3 characters, that's 30 pieces you could transmog. Okay. If you're like me, where you only play consistently as one class, I can only create 10 universal ornaments. Each like armor set has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items: a headpiece, an arm piece, a chest piece, leg piece, and then I almost said a vanity item, but that's not what it is. It's a class item. Your class item.
It's basically a vanity item.
It's basically vanity. So I can basically convert 2 full armor sets into a universal ornament a season. A season is typically like 3 or 4 months, right? For this season, where they're introducing it, they're going to let you do double, but that's it. The kicker is, if you want more, you can buy Synthweave for silver. So I'm looking here. A single Synthweave template token will run 300 silver, which is $3. Or you can get 5 tokens for 1,000, which is $10. Which that math checks out. But anyway.
Here's my question: is that to make the so that's to make the ornament?
That is to make the ornament. Yes, to make a universal ornament.
So that basically means that you're not paying to transmog; you're paying for the skin, and the skin is free to apply.
Yes. Once I make something a universal ornament, it is a universal ornament. I can use it, reuse it as much.
So it's layered armor for Monster Hunter. It's not transmog. Because layered armor, you craft a separate armor set and you wear that in addition to what you're wearing as stats, but the appearance comes from your armor.
Did you ever use the universal ornament system was that a thing when you were?
I did. I did use that.
It operates the same way. So something similar to that.
Okay. A few thoughts if you're ready for them.
Go for it.
One, I think that it's smart to do a layered armor system rather than individual transactions to change armor pieces for obvious reasons.
Right.
So good on them for not completely screwing it up. 2, that sounds like the most overcomplicated process.
Yeah.
For anything, because it's so Destiny to just be like, so you need to go find these so you can get a bounty to find this so that you can talk to a person to get this. It's the most busy work style system, and to lock it per season really irks me, because that just, to me, I hear that as like we are literally forcing you or trying to force you to come back every season so that we can get more of your money, or so we can try to get more money out of you, or inflate the player numbers.
Right. And see, that's the thing. Like, you don't have to have the season pass to get this or anything like that. So that's at least good. You can do good. That. What's annoying for me is that, as you mentioned, it is a process, right? You have to get the Glimmer, you have to do these bounties, and then you have to go through all these steps. And so that's already annoying enough.
Right.
So why put a limit on it? Why put a pin on the top? Just let people earn as much as they want. Because people have been doing the math on this. It would take, maybe the math was with the cap, But it would. There are thousands of pieces of armor in this game, so it
Right.
would take a long time to get to unlock everything that you want. So it's ridiculous that they're putting a cap on it, regardless. So
It's
to me, that's them wanting to push people to spend the money on it, which is annoying.
right. Well, that obviously, but to me, I hear that, and maybe this is tinfoil hat going on, but to me, I hear that as them using it as incentive to come back per season, which could be them laying planting the seeds of not having as much incentive to come back per season. So kind of throwing the game into not a maintenance mode, but in a let's not try as hard kind of mode. Because because most of Destiny's players, and I'm fully acknowledging that this sounds like a reach, but like I've seen Bungie do this kind of stuff, not this specifically, but that kind of practice of we're saying one thing, but really we don't have the content, we can't make the content or whatever, so we're just trying to give the illusion of content. That's what the Destiny content vault is all about.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's just like they are so desperate for you to keep playing the game, and they know that so many of their players are completionists that literally play it because they just enjoy being able to say, like, I have the full vault of all of the weapons, of all the armor and everything. And so they know they've kind of got them by the balls. They're either going to spend the money or they're going to keep coming back so they can potentially spend money, or they can inflate the numbers. And that just bothers me.
Yeah. I hope that's not the case, because I really like what they're doing with the story right now. And they've already laid out two more years of like content, like as far as like story and like developments. So I hope they're not just hanging it up and just kind of putting in the bare minimum on the rest of it. But I do agree with you. It will be an incentive to come back just to get your 10 synth weave and move on. So to wrap up my thoughts on this, because I still haven't talked about shaders. I think it's annoying, but at the same time, I couldn't tell you what 10 I'm gonna, which I guess I'll have 20. I don't know what 20 I'm gonna convert.
Yeah.
I have one headpiece, and I'll show it to anyone watching the stream right now. It's this one right here. I really like this helmet. That is the first thing I'm gonna transmog. I don't know that there's anything else I will transmog. I pretty much have worn the Eververse Universal Ornaments since they like created that. Like that has been my bread and butter, because I'm always leveling up. I've never had a piece of armor that I was just like, oh man, I got this armor from such and such mission. It's blah, blah, blah. 99% of my armor right now is crap that I found doing whatever that happened to have a bigger number than the other numbers. And so now with sunsetting being gone, the game is a lot easier for me, because I have one piece of armor that I fully leveled up, and now I just keep pumping numbers into it. And I'm just going to keep pumping numbers and change out mods and let it keep rolling. And then if I find cool looking armor, I'll make it a universal ornament and move on. So,
and to your point, it was how you said that, like, you don't even know what 10 you would do. I'm the same way, to where I probably would have like a skin that I really like for every single slot, and I would probably just be good because I would know the look that I want and I would stick with it.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't affect me personally, but it bothers me that they show a full understanding of how to exploit their community, and they're actively doing it.
Right. Yeah. That's the annoying part of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about shaders though, because shaders, I am happy about this change. Shaders are now becoming a permanent unlock. Once you have a certain shader, it's unlocked. You don't have to. I'm pretty sure you don't have to even spend Glimmer to like to use it, to apply it. So you don't have to worry about finding enough. You don't have to worry about saving that shader that you really liked for that one piece of armor that you really think you're going to stick with for a while. You can literally turn them on and off as you please. Their price in the Eververse is going to go up just a little bit, but not by much. I think it used to cost like 30 glimmer or no bright dust to get one in the store. Now it's going to be like 100 or 200 or something like that. So it's a little bit
Are you going to
more
have to reacquire them?
So that is the interesting thing that I'm not sure about, because what everyone's telling you and what I did at the beginning of the stream was everyone's telling you to delete your shaders because you get legendary shards from them, which is a pretty valuable currency. And they've said in the game multiple times, like the game, Bungie has told you to do this because the current shaders supposedly are not going to work with this new system. So they're telling you to, scrap them now so you can at least get the parts from them. But I held on to a couple that I really like just in case.
I
it
would have
turns on its head.
I would have advised you to keep one of each shader that you like. That
But
way,
that's what I did. That's pretty much what I did. I kept a handful of ones that I am currently using and really like, but also a couple that I've been saving because I really like them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to wait till I had an armor system or an armor that I really, really knew I would stick with. So I don't know. Anyway,
it worries me because that is a good change to make them account wide, or I guess. Is it character or account?
That is a great question. I would think account, but
it's probably going to be
for me. Even if it's character, that means account wide. So I don't.
Right.
I don't really know how that affects other people.
So when you say what you said, I hear like, wow, that's a good change. What's the catch? And to me, what that means is that they probably are going to make you reacquire shaders to your account, which means that they have either, again, given you another thing to grind for, or they've given you another thing that you need to purchase on your account. And maybe they'll keep track of purchases that people have made in their Eververse account.
Right.
So that they have those still, if they've ever purchased one, just to get themselves out of legal trouble.
Right.
But I don't think that would be what they would do, because that would be suicide for them, or at least that would be just super irresponsible, especially to be like, hey, everyone delete your shaders, just for them to be like, oh yeah, we were telling you that, because you're literally going to have to reacquire all of them.
Right.
I doubt they would do that. I've seen some malicious stuff from Bungie just to take advantage of the consumer, but that wouldn't even be veiled. That would just be bad.
And my other question is, what about shaders that I currently have equipped? Are those going to be unlocked, or as soon as I swap out my color, is that shader just going to disappear? So lots of questions that will soon to be answered. But anyway, Steven, we've gone long enough without talking about Returnal. Let's catch up a little bit, talk about what we've been playing. I haven't really been playing much because I've been just hella busy. But you've been playing a lot of Returnal, which we talked about last week. But I think your opinion, well, I don't even know that your opinion's changed. You just have a little bit more of a solid opinion
My
now.
opinion hasn't changed. Well, I guess my opinion has finalized or developed, because my opinion has always been everything I said last week, to as far as I can recall of what I said, like the things that I praised, the level design, the just the way they do the narrative and the intrigue and everything, it's solid. And that's why I can't say Returnal's a bad game.
Right.
But now that I've played it as many times as I have, I've made it to the third act boss. And if you're going to at me saying that's not enough time to develop an opinion, you're wrong, because of how many hours I've put into this game. And no, I'm not bad at it. I'm great at roguelikes.
Right.
Like that's one of my games, which is why I feel like I have the leg to stand on in this conversation.
Steven is the roguelike guy.
I am a roguelike guy. Yes. I can't say I'm the, because in today's day and age, is anyone really the of anything, you know? There are a lot of people on the internet. I'm
There
just
are.
okay.
That's true.
I'm okay.
You are our roguelike guy.
I am. I am the resident Chortle Games rogue.
Light.
Guy.
Yeah.
Light. Yeah. Anyway, Returnal, very impressive visuals, very impressive use of the DualSense controller technology. I like the character. I'm very intrigued by her story. But it's a bad roguelike. And it can't escape the fact that it is a roguelike. And what I mean by that is, and using this game as an example, this is a roguelike mode for Children of Morta. So you pick your character at the beginning. So you have all of their abilities unlocked at the beginning, so you don't have to like level up the character or whatever. And as you play through the dungeon, you level up and you can find items, relics, all that stuff like you can in the regular game. But the difference with the regular game is that every time you level up, you get a choice. And what good timing! I both found an item and I leveled up. So when you level up like I'm doing right now, for those who are watching,
and I apologize in advance because it is going to be a little delayed, but just watch what Steven's doing.
You get to choose a talent. You get one of 3 choices, and they could be anything from like more health or an extra dodge roll, more damage with a certain ability, or a certain ability has a different effect, all that stuff. So you get to strategize. Like I'm playing Linda right now. I normally don't play her, but it's been a while, and I actually didn't realize how much I enjoyed her gameplay. So this is good. But so you can strategize based on the options that you're given. You can make a call to be like, well, this Linda, I used an item for her that makes it to where she can't dodge roll, but she's got a lot of like a lot more speed and whatnot. So I don't need to do anything that incentivizes me to be close to the enemy. So I'm going to use this thing that says when you stand still, you do more damage, stuff like that. And each character has unique ones with some overlapping, like max health and extra dodge roll, all that stuff. But as you progress, you know that each time you're going to get different options. You're going to find different items. The characters are vastly different. It's just a varying experience that is largely affected by choice of the player. And that's one of the reasons that roguelikes work, is that each time you play it, it's a different experience, and you learn over time what works and what doesn't. And you develop a play style or strategies, and you do what you can to
work with it,
replicate that. Yeah, Hades is a great example. We have a stream that I really enjoyed where you played Hades and I coached you.
Yes, that was great.
I walked you through strategies that I used where you ended up investing, I think, a lot in Aphrodite and Ares, right? And so we knew early on that you were getting buffs from Aphrodite and Ares. So my thought was, okay, great, let's just keep investing in them. And we know, because of our experience in playing the game through attempting and losing over and over again, we know that the more you have boons for a god, the more likely that they're to appear, to the point where eventually those are the only ones that you're getting for the most part. So I was banking on us getting a certain duo boon. And we did. And that was lucky. It was, but we did get it. And so all of this to say, I'm going somewhere with this. I promise. I'm not just reliving the glory days of when we played Hades. But
they were pretty great days.
Returnal lacks all of that. What I mean by that is it is so RNG focused, where as the player, I feel like my performance outside of my ability to dodge bullet hell patterns, or time certain things, more twitch stick kind of stuff, I feel like I am completely powerless to affect my run. And a lot of people have said that's called being a roguelike. No, it's not. Being a roguelike or roguelite is determined by a different gameplay experience each time. with roguelikes, it's more of a fresh reset each time you play, which is more what Returnal is, which is more what this is. Children of Morta, this mode, the endless dungeon. Do I want that? Yeah, sure. Sorry. But with Returnal, it plays like a more Metroidvania kind of campaign game, but you're going to lose and you're going to have to replay it. And it lacks that engaging replay feel. And this is why I think Returnal scored so well, but I think it's died off a lot is because people realize that they don't enjoy replaying it. And that's what I ran into. The early experience was really good. But the whole time I was sitting there like, oh man, I can't wait to see what guns I unlock or see what abilities I unlock and see how this game opens up. And as far as I know, and based on what I've talked to or how I've talked with other people that have played it, it doesn't really develop. Because you've got your weapon.
Like gameplay wise.
Like gameplay wise, yes. Yeah. The gameplay doesn't evolve. So an important part of a roguelike is when you lose, a good roguelike or roguelite will see you itching to go back in. Being like, I know if I do this time, I'll get it. Or I bet if I give it one more go, I'll do it. Or maybe I'll try this time. Returnal doesn't have that. It literally feels like a pure, fresh restart, but you have to replay through the same stuff. That it has less deviation from what your typical rogue might have. But there's really nothing that you can take with you from previous runs, not even knowledge, to prepare you for the next time.
Right.
Because not only do you have the RNG of what your rewards are going to be per room, but you have the RNG of whether or not you'll get a suit malfunction from probably 70% of the stuff that you pick up in the world. And then you have the RNG of what you're even going to pick up. Because you've got artifacts, parasites, consumables, and weapons are basically what you're going to pick up. Weapons, it does not give you near often enough. I played one run for probably 45 minutes and did not find a single weapon.
That's annoying.
I was stuck with the level 0 pistol because the game doesn't reward you for deciding whether or not to run into a room. Because again, it's purely RNG. So Hades as an example, and I'm going to try to not use Hades as an example as
every
much.
Time.
Right, because it is a roguelite. It's a different beast. But with Hades, when you go up to a room, like it's a series of rooms, right? And you get to choose what door you open next.
Right, and you see the reward.
Exactly. And I could see, oh, wow, there's a Zeus boon and an Ares boon behind this door. But at the same time, you'll see that it has a skull. So you are forced in that moment to make the strategic choice. Is it worth it? Do I think I can survive this boss battle? Or do I cut my losses and hope for a merchant so that I can heal up and get ready for the boss of this realm? Like there's strategy there. You have enough information to where you don't have all the information, but you have enough to where you can develop a plan or a informed decision. In Returnal, there's none of that. It indicates what's a side path and what's a main path and where vendors are after you've already bumped into them. So it lacks that decision of, is this room worth clearing or not? Because it's just a crapshoot. When it comes to the strategic decision, again, the good rogue titles, when they have that whole, here's your reward, choose what you get, it's usually 3. Like in this game, talents are 3, and Hades, boons are 1 of 3 choices, all that stuff. It's a good number because it doesn't give you everything, but it gives you enough to where you'll probably find something that'll help whatever you're running with. In Returnal, there is almost never a choice. And by that, I mean, if you find an artifact, you just pick it up because there's no downside to an artifact and you don't get the choice of like it never offers you like, hey, you can get 1 of 3 artifacts. Choose wisely.
Right.
It's always just like, hey, here's an artifact that increases your repair efficiency, or here's one that makes where you have a 10% chance. Again, even RNG is in the abilities. A 10% chance to heal when you kill an enemy. Um, so artifacts are outside of the realm of strategy. It's just another RNG element to where if you get an artifact, you're like, great, that's something that helps me. But it never is affected by choice.
Right.
An informed choice. Because you could choose to go into a room and just be really lucky that there was an artifact in there. Right. And then there's parasites, which you can have 3 of them equipped on your character at a time. They have an upside and a downside.
Mm-hmm. And almost always the downside outweighs the good side.
Yes. Because it could be like repair efficiency increased by 15%. But the downside is you are way more likely to get a suit malfunction every time you pick up an item with malignancy, which is almost all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, it's not worth it. And even then, none of the positive effects are defining enough to really be a decision where it's like, where it rewards being methodical or anything like that.
Right.
It's just like, you either find one where it's like, okay, yeah, I can make that trade-off, or it's reactionary to where it's like, okay, good, this parasite, if I pick it up, it'll get rid of my malfunctions and then it'll just immediately go away. Mm-hmm. Again, it's just more RNG. And then the weapons are also an RNG because you don't know if you're going to find a weapon, and when you do, it may be a weapon that's awful, like the rocket launcher. You have to keep leveling up your weapon proficiency to increase the level of weapons that you get from the runs. So you could have a really good weapon, but if your weapon proficiency is low, then you're going to hang on to that weapon. And you know, like, and yeah. I don't know if that's exactly true. It's just the best. Like, I'm in the middle of a fight and I'm trying to, you know.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. And I haven't played it yet, but to me, just the whole idea of how long it is, like, it just seems like it's a lot. And this extends to even the price, which we've talked about before. It seems like this game is asking you to commit a lot. I mean, you're committing a lot of money to buying this game. You're committing a lot of time to play the game and enjoy the game. So I hope that they are planning to give you a little bit of that back. Like, I know a lot of people are calling for a save, like a save your place option. I mean, you've probably seen memes of people like putting their game into rest mode and like praying that there's not an update tonight, because if it updates the game, then you're lost. Your progress is all gone. So I don't know. I hate that it is soured for you a little bit, just because I was really hoping this would be a game that just would really win with you and for you, but it sounds like they've got some stuff they've got to work out.
It just doesn't. It doesn't make a good roguelike. Mm-hmm. And that wouldn't be so bad if being a roguelike, like if succeeding at those mechanics wasn't so important to the genre, because it embraces that DNA.
Right.
It's not like something like Darkest Dungeon, where it is explained. It is called a roguelite or a roguelike. I can't remember which one it identifies itself as, but it is not, at the end of the day, considered to be mainly that. But Returnal is a roguelike bullet hell.
Right.
And so many of the decisions of how the game plays, and this is one that I talked about during the stream, and I talked about even the first time I streamed it. They do so many things in the game that just waste your time. Where it's just like the whole not having knowledge of what's in the next room, pretty much all the time, is just a way to get you to probably die when you're not ready, or it's a way to waste your time looking for something that you won't get.
Right.
There is a system called Adrenaline, and I hate this system. Do you know about it?
So as I understand it, as you play, you build up your adrenaline, and it buffs your speed, it buffs your power or something. It's giving you a bunch of buffs, but as soon as you take a hit, it resets. And so
Correct.
You might
it's not just as you play, it's as you kill enemies.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. So it basically says like, hey, you're doing really well against these enemies. Here's something that you don't need if you're doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing really bad, it's like, well, sucks to suck. Get good.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked before about how this game is way too distracting. Like it expects you to be able to see everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
Still stand by that.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, that just feels kind of like a distraction, like an artificial difficulty. To just be like, hey, this game's hard. You need to try it again,
Right.
because you weren't looking at your mini map when you were reloading to get your reload time correctly while there was a guy in front of you and you were dodging his bullets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing to help people who are struggling. Like if you go into a boss battle with no adrenaline, you're screwed, because adrenaline, it makes it to where you get more currency. You fire additional projectiles when you shoot your gun. Like it helps with your damage output.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can understand, like when you've got a flow going, there's a certain gameplay aspect of that makes sense. But don't make it just when killing enemies.
Right.
Make it where it's damage dealt or perfect reloads, anything.
Yeah.
But if you're caught with your pants down against a boss, there's nothing you can do to recover.
Right.
So it basically punishes being imperfect so that it can incentivize you to go back in and maybe get perfect next time.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't take anything away from that experience. And on the same level in this game, and I'm pretty sure other roguelikes, I can't pinpoint one at the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
This game I'm playing as a character who is leveling up.
Mm-hmm.
The level up happens from, getting kills, completing objectives, all that stuff. But there's an incentive to keep leveling up because I get traits that I can make directly affect my gameplay experience through a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's a constant progression that happens fresh every single time, but it adds to that itch to play again. Returnal has no progression mid-run.
Mm-hmm.
It has weapon proficiency, and that's it. Which weapon proficiency just increases the level of guns that you find.
Right.
So, like, as I'm playing the game, I could find a bunch of resin, sure, to increase my health, but
that's only going to get you so far.
That's only going to get you so far. There's nothing that says, hey, you've been doing well. You did all these side objectives, so you have a higher chance to find this thing, or you have higher resistance or anything like that. It's all RNG based. So it's purely based on luck. And so it's just disappointing because there's nothing bringing me back into the game from a mechanic standpoint. I'm intrigued by the story. I really enjoy the house scenes. It seems like they can make a really solid story game with some horror roots, but they don't seem to understand what makes a roguelike or roguelite good. It seems like they just thought that meant if you die, you go to the beginning. And I will mention there are, like, when you kill a boss, you don't have to re-kill a boss. You can, but you don't have to re-kill a boss in a region. So you can skip regions. But
okay, that's cool.
If you skip regions, you're going to get screwed. That's been my experience, where if I go straight to region 3 from a fresh run,
because you're not building up.
You're not building up. You have to gradually build up. But because the game does not give you a way to strategize a run to be like, I know I'm going to go here and here and here to get what I need, you're just like, okay, I'm just going to throw darts at the board till I feel like I've found enough random nonsense to move forward to the next area.
That's
so I just feel like they didn't understand what makes a compelling rogue experience. They thought it just meant fresh runs, and I wholeheartedly disagree. I think there's much more to it, and they missed the mark at that realm, which is super disappointing. Because, like I said, I really like what is around this game. Like the world, the character, the visuals are fantastic. It's very impressive.
Right.
But it just fails crucially.
They aimed to make a AAA roguelite with story, compelling story, out of this world graphics, but they missed the mark on the roguelite. They
They,
did
they,
everything else they set out to do well, but the
yes,
roguelite kind of
they
fell apart.
missed the mark on central game mechanics that a lot of people are just going to shrug off, but a lot of those people don't play rogues. They
Right.
don't understand. So it's understandable, and this is why, because people have said to me that when I've expressed my thoughts, and I may have already said this, but why if you don't like it? For one, somebody said to me, I think you are frustrated at it because you're just bad at it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Two, I took that personally because
Right.
that's like, you cannot tell me that
Uh-huh.
I am bad at these games. I spend so much time playing these games to where if there are good elements of a player's skill being able to affect their run,
Mm-hmm.
I should have an edge
Right.
because I know how these things work. And so that's not it. I'm not saying all this because it's going to look like, wow, Steve, you play one stream that was really frustrating and you just bail on this game. That's not what it is. This stuff's
Uh-huh.
been festering for a while, but that stream is what brought so much of this to my attention. And so it's not that I'm bad at it. I'm pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great. I'm pretty good. It's just I've played games like this and I've seen how it can be done well, and this isn't doing it well, and it makes it so much more frustrating knowing, wow, this would be a lot better if it had this or that. And so I think the reason this game reviewed so well, and by the way, this is why a lot of games review really well, but peter off after a short amount of time, is because the people who reviewed this either A, didn't beat the game, or they beat it really quickly. And they did not have to play the game. They didn't have to do the death loop of playing for the 15th time, being stuck in the third or fourth biome.
Right.
They got out before the frustration started to sink in.
So to wrap this topic up, Stephen, and I don't necessarily need you to go into like what you think they need to do to fix the game, but what I want to know is like, is this patchable? Like in let's just say a few months, a year, could they potentially add enough fixes to this to make it work again, or to work better, or is it fundamentally broken?
It is not fundamentally broken, but to make it better, they're going to have to not drastically alter the gameplay experience, but they will have to make some very crucial changes. And I can already give you a couple just off the top of my head without getting too in depth. But one, make it to where you can pick what your starting weapon is. That's easy. That's an easy one. Two, possibly make it to where you can complete challenges by playing the game that don't just give you ether, because ether being a catch-all resource that just allows you to do a dice roll on more RNG is not good enough. Make there be a challenge system that gives you the ability to take like 3 perks into a run, something like that, to where you could be like, I'm going to start this run with increased resistance, or with higher weapon efficiency, or repair efficiency, or whatever. Like pick an artifact, pick 2 stat increases, just something like that, to help to give you a start on where you want your build to go. That way you're not basing literally everything in your run on where your first few things landed. Because, and even though Hades does that a little bit, because you kind of base which god you're going to tune to based on who your boons are at first, but you make decisions that affect that. But also you can choose your weapon in Hades. That's a big part of it. And so those are just a couple things I would do, and those aren't even hard implementations. They'd probably make the game, like the experience, change drastically to where like things might be easier, much easier than they that they would want them to be, but at least it would be more entertaining. And really, at the end of the day, they just need to, and for all I know, no one even has these concerns, and I'm just the one with the bad opinion, like I always am. But the thing that they need, from my perspective, is that itch to play again, that itch to go back in, that incentive of, if I do this to change my run, then maybe I'll have more success, or just something to where the player can feel like their effort matters,
Right.
rather than just how much they can keep up with chaos on screen and how lucky they are.
Right. Well, I don't know what everyone else is truly feeling. I know a lot of critics I've seen have said that they just, they can't get enough of the game. They want to go back for another run. The frustrations I hear from people mostly is just how long those runs are. And I think part of it is a little bit of what you're saying here, of just like, you spend so much time on this run just for nothing to be gained from it.
Right. And that's why it's so hard to go back in.
Right. You almost have to be a little sadistic to want to have that drive to go back into it. Yeah. But anyway, this was a great discussion, Stephen, and I hope they do fix Returnal. But that is going to be the end of our podcast tonight. Thank you guys for watching live. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, say hi in the chat. If you're still watching live, maybe give us an emote or something. I'll let it be user's choice. Just put an emote, spam an emote real quick, everybody. Have a good time. We also
stream.
Who was the
director of Fantastic Four? Let us know in the chat.
There you go. Let us know. We also do the podcast on Facebook. That's at Chortle Games on Facebook. And now that we're doing things live, it also goes to at Chortle Games on Twitter and twitch.tv/Chortle_games. We typically, the podcast, now it sounds like is going to start happening live every Monday night around 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Thank you for still being here, not in the gulag.
Is this a regular thing?
I think this may become a regular thing, just because it's starting to. At least with my busy schedule right now, it's this may be the new thing for a while, but we'll see. So let us know if you like this, if you don't like it, if you hate it. Obviously, there's some things we need to improve. I'm hoping my PC will improve a lot of the issues that we're having right now. But anyway, just let us know. Keep us updated. Of course, the podcast isn't the only thing we do. We do live streams throughout the week, normally on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I am in the middle of what I've been calling the Phoenix March, which is where I've had to work weekends.
Jake.
Oh, I know.
I'm sorry.
I've had to work weekends. Oh no. Phoenix March, because it's like the death march, but I'm going to rise from the ashes because my son's name is Asher. Get it?
The joke was dead before it even got off the ground.
Dead upon arrival. I understand. I've been working every weekend and will continue to work every weekend until my first child is born. So I've been incredibly busy. And so I'm sorry that I have not been on as many streams as I would like to be.
You impulse purchased Returnal, like, was that last week?
That was last week during the podcast. I haven't touched it. Considered saying, you know what, maybe I should try to return this. I've already downloaded it, so I don't know that I can return it, but I kind of still want to try it. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to.
It's worth trying because there is value in the game, but it just, and who knows, you might even love it, but I speak confidently as a connoisseur of rogue titles that it fails to be one of them.
Well, we'll see. I'll have to try it. So we will aim for our normal Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night streams. No idea who will be doing those, what we'll be playing, but be sure to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you like to watch us, and we will get to it eventually. And hopefully do that. One day I'm going to be done working weekends back to back, and I can be more involved. So just a real busy time in my life right now. But anyway, Stephen, thank you as always. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in the live streams later this week. Otherwise, see you next time. Bye.